Hey y'all, it's Will here in the Stonehouse basement, the farm lair of the Stony Point Center farm, where it is spring 2019 and it is time for the soil report, where you hear what's happening in the ground with Stony Point Center Farm and what's happening on the ground with food justice in our community.
Hey, it's Amirah with the In the Ground report for the spring season here at Stony Point Center Farm. We've had an amazing maple season. We tapped those trees, collected a whole bunch of sap, and boiled it down. We made a new boiler in our winter months, I should say. It took us a little bit of time to make, and it's really quite efficient, and it boiled down about 12 gallons of maple syrup. So we've really been enjoying that sweet taste of winter-spring season, and hope you all get a chance to try some of it too. Our indoor greenhouse and hoop house spaces are alive and well with many green plants. We have a whole bunch of seed trays full of transplants that are making their way, growing, getting ready to be transplanted into the fields. And our hoop houses are full of spring greens. The lettuce isn't quite ready to harvest, but the spinach definitely is, and we've been enjoying sweet spring spinach. And so the outside spaces, we're doing a lot of preparation, tilling those fields and moving lots and lots of rocks, especially over at the Keesler farm. We've spent many an hour tilling the fields and pulling out those rocks and laying down many hundreds of feet of plastic. Irrigation is being put down and a lot of work being done for field preparation here in April so that transplanting can really happen in the month of May. So that's what's happening in the spring season here at Stony Point Center Farm.
So for our on-the-ground report this season, we wanted to give everybody an update with what's going on with the Coalition of Immokalee workers, because they have been very busy with their Boycott Wendy's campaign. I want to take y'all back to the winter, actually, where the CIW hosted an event in New York City called On Common Ground, where they gathered a multi-faith panel of faith leaders to talk about how their faith intersects with supporting the farm workers movement for justice. Several of our community members were able to attend the gathering, and they were covering topics just the basic human dignity of farm workers, just how the invisibility of the suffering of our neighbors that we don't see, and really like the CIW's formula. They often say it's C plus C equals C. Consciousness plus commitment equals change. And so it was a really powerful event, and we were glad that we could support it and participate in that. And that led us to the next call for action from the CIW, which was to participate in a Valentine's Day card making campaign where we were writing letters to 4 different university presidents that are the focus of the CIW's annual spring action: the University of Michigan, Ohio State University, the University of Florida, and the University of North Carolina. So our community gathered in Evergreen after lunch one day to just make Valentine's Day cards that were kind of themed with tomatoes, and calling on these university presidents to cut their contract with Wendy's in like the student union buildings and on campus buildings. That was just like the precursor to the tour that the CIW started, where they were visiting each of those campuses. And what was really cool is right before that tour started, the University of Michigan actually cut those ties and canceled their contract with Wendy's until they decide to join the Fair Food Program. And we're waiting for those other 3 universities to follow suit. But one thing that's really cool about it is that some of the student governments of those universities have gotten involved and passed resolutions. I think specifically the University of Florida student government has passed a resolution, and even Florida Atlantic University followed suit and did the same thing. So we're really excited about how that campaign's shaping up. And we're going to continue to call on the boycott of Wendy's and calling on these universities to cut contracts with Wendy's, which was something that really worked in a previous campaign, in the Taco Bell campaign. That was what really turned the tide for the first member, the first corporate member of the Fair Food Program. And one other interesting thing about the campaigns with the universities is some of the municipalities where the universities are located are passing resolutions in the towns and cities of those universities. So in the town of Gainesville, or the city of Gainesville, the city council actually passed a resolution to help put pressure on the university to cut ties with Wendy's and support the CIW, which is a really cool strategy, and we're hoping we see more of that in the future. And then finally, on April 18th, the Alliance for Fair Food, in collaboration with CIW and the Student Farmworker Alliance, organized a national coordinated day of action at college campuses, university campuses, calling on the campuses to boot the braids, to get Wendy's off of campus until they join the Fair Food program. And one cool thing about that was we actually heard from a former Summer Institute participant, Roxy, who is now working for the Alliance for Fair Food, and made that connection while she was here at the Summer Institute, and when we were able to introduce her to some members of the CIW. And it was just cool to see, to get that invitation to participate in that day of action from someone we knew. And we're just really happy that the work's continuing. And, that we'll continue to be boycotting Wendy's and raising our voices along with the farm workers from the CIW until Wendy's changes their minds and joins the Fair Food program. So that's your soil report for the season of spring. Maybe you all noticed that we changed the format a little bit. We're no longer going to be coming to you on a monthly basis, but rather coming seasonally with some updates on the farm and with food justice. And for those of you who want more regular updates on what's happening with the farm, you can check out our podcast, which is called Faith in Farming. Faith in Farming, I-N. You can search Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify. You can find us there. And until next season, we will see you all later.